Formerly mentioned in previous monthly reports as an upcoming creature, the new Yor Mandy now uses different fire modes in its attack. Issues with perception giving false positives were also fixed. Further improvements are currently underway for this and existing creatures. Sorry, it uses... Oh, different fire modes. Okay. I thought it was saying it was going to attack with fire. I was like, are we getting dragons in Star Citizen? So the Yor Mandy, we have no clue what that is unless it's been mentioned in lore before. Ah, I see. So it's been in the leaks already. It's the snaky boy. It actually does look kind of like a dragon, which is a little bit unnerving. Where is it? Where is it? Where is that? Here. So last year we got a real good look at just how far they were going with Fauna and what they wanted to do with it. We also, I think it was maybe 1 year prior, I think end of 2022 it possibly would have been. I have a video on Space Tomato 2, you can go back and find it, where we actually talked on this very channel about how they were looking for somebody to take control of the pipeline for creating Fauna in this game. So the idea was they needed somebody who could handle the animations, the VFX, the hair, all of the different categories, put it into a pipeline, know the people who needed to be involved, and start to pump them out. Since then, we've seen, I think, 2 or 3 Fauna added. We've gotten Copion, the Malik, the Space Cow, the Valakar in different sizes. So we've gotten 4 Fauna since then. So they've been doing pretty good, but they also have some pretty big plans for Fauna. I'm going to let you hear a little bit of this because the supposedly the one that's coming up now here, mentioned in this monthly report, the Yormandi, is actually mentioned, or not mentioned, but it's shown off in this demonstration.
But I also want to share with you the bigger picture for creatures. So let's start with some Valakar variants. Variants so far have typically just had alterations to their loot and appearance.
Okay.
However,
So they're putting it on the same slide as the whole Valakar variant idea, but who knows? Maybe they also broke it out. It does sound like this is now being called a different creature. Maybe it is totally a different creature. From what I'm seeing, the belief that this is the creature they're talking about kind of comes from a leak, and so it's not exactly official, but it's at least pictured here.
we want to go further with what variants can be. For example, what if the Valakar evolved and grew in a swamp environment instead of a desert planet? Or if a Valakar never made it to the surface, grew in a...
And I just want to point out that, like, this is way reaching kind of copium energy. But if this was, per se, the Valakar that evolves in the jungle biome, and it was coming sometime soon, then we'd have to have jungles soon too, right? I'm not saying Hurston might be re-terraformed to also have a jungle biome, but, you know, it's possible. So that's really the only place we've seen it. The other interesting thing that they talk about here is just how big the fauna are going to get.
Which is the weird and the unknown.
I think they mentioned that the biggest fauna we will see in the game was actually pictured at some point in this demonstration, and I think it was these. I think they're actually kind of serious about getting stuff like this into the game, which will be pretty crazy to see. Ultimately, though, you can see the entirety of the fauna they have planned for the Star Citizen 1.0 launch in the next few years right here. See that little squid thing here? Well, I guess it's not little, it's big. But you can see it right here. There's also a few other things here that we already have. So the Malik, there's at least one version of the Malik. You can see they have variants. A lot of these animals are variants of other animals. So you could see a variant of the space cow right here. Excuse me. You can see another variant of the Malik up here. Another space cow over here. And then we've got stuff like the pyro crab, something we still haven't seen in the game, but I do believe is pictured somewhere. Right here, yeah, on this page. But then you've also got a variant of that, maybe, right here. You've got the Valakar here in the middle, Valakar variant over here, Valakar variant over here. So there are a lot of options for Fauna. They've got a lot of plans for them. I do think a lot of this will be mixed into crafting, contracts, hunting fauna, monster hunting. Like we've seen this stuff in the guilds and the things that they have talked about when it comes to the sports federation guild, whatever it's called. So all that to say, this boy down here might be Yormandi, our Yormandi, we're Yormandi, and it looks like they're making good progress on it. So it was previously mentioned in previous month reports, they're fixing things like its perception. So pretty advanced. Let me go back to one of the previous monthly reports and see if it does mention the creature, so we could see what previous work had gone on with it. You can kind of get an idea of where it is in development, if they've said enough about it already in the past. Human combat, AI features, group perception, AI weapons, AI bounding. So that's a no. Let's see if it's in August. Various behavioral combat improvements, NPCs, groups, and leaders. A bug was fixed with NPC executing audio triggers. I'm not seeing anything for the creatures. I do remember something about it, but I don't want to spend too much time on it. Here's some animation work on a new creature. That could be what they were talking about. We'll keep an eye on it, but it does sound like it's upcoming. Something's coming.